super excited to have, again, another dear friend of Kajabi and longtime Kajabi hero. I think you were like customer number like 9 or something, which is just insane. Brendon Burchard, so thankful to have you here and speaking to our audience. I know you can't see them and you can't see the chat, but they're there, I promise. And they're dropping all kinds of amazing welcome Brendons in the chat. So with that, Brendon, I know you're going to talk a little bit about mindset and productivity and how to get started as an entrepreneur. And I know you're going to have so much wisdom to share. So I will pass the stage to you and we'll be back at the end for a Q&A.
Awesome. Thank you, Allie. What's up, everybody? Hey, it's Brendon. I'm so thrilled to be here with you because, as you all know, I bleed blue. You know, I've been, as Allie mentioned, with Kajabi for pretty much my entire career. And I was account number 10 in the new system. In the old system, I think I was one of the first 1 or 2 people to hit over $1 million in sales on the original platform. And so I've been doing this a long time, and I hope to share some just perspective with you that will help you build more, reach more people, earn more, make a greater impact. So today I'm going to talk about 2 simple topics. One is just what is the mindset of marketing right now? Because as you already sense in your own life, things have shifted a lot in the last 2 years, but they really shifted a lot in the market in just the last 90 days. So I want to talk to you about your messaging and what you're trying to do and how can you build your brand and increase your sales. And then second, I'll talk about just the confidence and the productivity of doing all of this, because as you've already found out, you really have to show up. You have to care about your customer. You have to care about doing this. And for those of you who are just starting out, you're like, I don't even have any customers or followers or fans or emails. The good news is the exact same mindset of what I'll teach you today is the same thing you do if you're beginning or you're in the mid part of your career and build, or you're at that part where you've already crushed it. You already have the freedom. I always say I'm doing the same thing today in many ways that I was doing 20 years ago, which I know dates me a little bit, but that's when my first book came out. I was in grad school. I wrote a book called The Student Leadership Guide, and it was my first sort of jump into the thought leadership world. It was just a project I did for my university, and it kind of took off. And then I got a job, and that job was great. I was a consultant for Accenture, which was a consulting company for many years. And I had a good job, like many of you guys. And then one day, it was very clear to me that my heart was pulling me to start something on my own. And I really felt that. It was like, it wasn't anything bad with the job. Because some people always think, well, people jump into entrepreneurship just because they had terrible jobs. I'm like, well, I had an okay job. It was that I wanted to find my next level of authentic expression and service. And that's where you're really going to succeed and earn. When you have an original passion to find your next level of expression and service, now you can join the knowledge economy. Now you can be part of this industry, which I still call the thought leader industry. Some people call it the knowledge economy. Some people call it the creator economy. Whatever you call it, it's the same. We're all trying to share our voice and monetize that knowledge, passion, experience that we have. Some of us do it through writing books. Some of us do it through life coaching. Some of us do it through online courses. Some of us do it through live broadcasts. Some of us do it through masterminds and higher paying groups or consulting. All of it's the same. Share your voice, earn. And what you need is the right mindset, the right rhythms, and the right tools to do it. And this is why, as you know, I think I've been number 1 or 2 or 3 top promoters of Kajabi over these years, because it's a platform that has allowed me to do all of that. So when I write books, I promote it using Kajabi. When I'm doing my live coaching, I use it using Kajabi. When I'm doing my, online courses, 28 of them, I do it through Kajabi. But it all begins with, what is that authentic expression and service for you? Now that sounds very philosophical, so let me tamp it down a little bit. For me, that was helping people with their personal development. That was my topic. I had a topic and I just wanted to help people improve their lives. I didn't have to have a huge niche for that. I didn't have to focus only on doctors or only focus on moms or only focus on entrepreneurs. I just wanted to help anybody who was in a moment of transition in their life and they wanted to improve their lives, because that's where I had been. For those who don't know my story, when I was a 19-year-old kid, I had been through a breakup with the first woman I ever loved. We thought we were going to get married, and that relationship fell apart. And when that relationship fell apart, I fell apart. I didn't have the emotional tools for how to deal with hurt. I didn't have the emotional tools to deal with the fact that that relationship ended. My identity was there, and I didn't know who I was anymore. And then I had a car accident shortly after, and it helped me realize that, I didn't want to die. I wanted to live, but I didn't know how. So on my own, on the side from grad school and work, I started reading personal development. I started reading psychology. I started reading human behavior change. I started reading business and sociology, anything I could get my hands on about why do we do what we do? Why are some people happy and some people not? Why do some people succeed and others do not? And I want to know that for me. That wasn't some big, like, one day I'm going to be, on Kajabi broadcasting on the internet. It was, I was curious about this. I wanted to solve this problem in my life, which was I was unhappy. I was sad. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't like my friends. I needed to learn how to succeed and build a great network and start something that mattered to me. And thank God I had the mindset of marketing and the confidence to start. And I'd like to tell you about some of those things that made the big difference along the way. Because when I began, some of you guys know that story, I began back in the time when there were flip video cameras. And I literally still remember the first video that I created, which is one of the reasons I got on to Kajabi originally. The first version of Kajabi was one of the very first platforms that allowed you to build landing pages with video on it. Now, that sounds crazy, but that was what, 2009 or 10, I'm guessing. I apologize, I can't remember. But it was a long time ago. And I had to, even maybe earlier, could have been 8 or 9. And I had to learn how to do video. That was not a comfortable thing for me. That was an awkward thing for you. Many of you have learned over the last 2 years, you've learned to do Zoom and it's been awkward and weird, but some of you figured it out. And now you can do Zoom, no problem. And sometimes even wear pants. So at some point you kind of go, okay, that's what's required. Let me get in there and figure it out. So what I discovered along the way was this mindset of willing to get in there and figure things out. That's actually called confidence. Confidence is the belief in one's ability to figure things out, right? It's the esteem part, but most importantly in the actual world, it's, can I figure this out? And you need to know you can figure this out. If you see a best-selling author or your favorite life coach or podcaster, you see someone crushing it with online courses, you must immediately say, I can figure that out. Even if you sucked at other things in the past, because the world is different now. There's tutorials. There's literally watch the video, learn how to do it, pause, build it, pause, launch. That's how easy like Kajabi and tools of the modern era make things. So you've got to say, oh, she did it. I can figure that out. And notice it's not saying, oh, she did it. I need to be like her. No, you can figure out her strategy. You can figure out the tools she's using. You can figure out the structure of her business. You can figure out the marketing psychology she is using. This is not a area, I think, where people succeed more only because they often compare themselves to others versus learning models and strategy and psychology of sales. And so it begins with, I can figure that out. If you can just trust, why did I sign up for Kajabi? I'm like, I'll figure it out. And I sucked at technology. I was like, I'll figure it out. If other people have figured it out, I can figure it out. That's just that confidence to get in the game. But then the mindset of marketing is also a blessing, because not only does it shift you from thinking you have to be like her or like him, because you don't have to be like them as a personality. you know, like so many people obsess, I got to copy her Instagram filter. I'm like, that has nothing to do with her business. I know. I coach the most followed people on the planet. I'm super blessed now after all of these courses and all of this revenue and all of this impact, reaching 6 million people literally every day, having the opportunity to have an 8-figure business for over a decade now. I've had all the experience. I know what works and what doesn't work. And what doesn't work is you comparing yourself to other people versus you learning strategy, versus you implementing a plan. That's so key. So the good news is you don't have to compare yourself to her or him anymore. So now you say, okay, what would I enjoy doing? What am I already interested in? Who would I like to help? So you get to return to that authentic expression and service. Another big idea here is not only do you not have to compare yourself to others, now you get to realize the mindset of marketing isn't about you anyway. And it's not about her or him or comparing in the industry. It's about who is this person you're trying to help and what are their ambitions and what actions do they need to improve this specific experience in their life? Meaning, what's their ambition? What is the thing that they're trying to improve specifically in their life? Are they trying to improve their mindset, their revenue, their relationship with their family? What specifically are they trying to improve? And marketing is always about that, improving how they feel, improving how they move towards their ambitions. It's about giving them a set of tools to take action. It's about giving them a set plan to take action. It's about giving them a framework, right? Steps or concepts that allow them to actually improve something. That's a huge part of marketing, is just understand, what are they trying to improve? Let's serve that. And when you want to go to another level, you just start saying, oh, let me build what we just call a content rhythm or a value rhythm around that. Oh, they want to improve personal development. Let me make my content rhythm about personal development. So that's why I write quotes every day related to personal development. So I do audios related to personal development. So I do videos related to personal development. My entire week is structured so that I'm creating content related to their ambition and the actions they need to improve that part of their life. That's what I do. So a content rhythm. Most of you, if you're not reaching enough people in your life or earning enough, your content rhythm is either non-existent or it's broken, or you're too distracted to do it. And I'm not one of those guys who tells you, you need to do 40 pieces of content every single day. That's not real for most entrepreneurs, most people working from home, most people who are trying to get in the industry. And it's also not necessary to earn at the highest levels. I think I'm in the top 3 earners in the history of my industry, and I don't have to create 40 pieces of content every day. What you have to do is build a rhythm that works for your life and stick to it. So that rhythm usually looks like this. Create one significant piece of content every single week, at least one piece of content every single week. Bust that up into lots of different little pieces and proliferate that online, reconnecting back to your webpage, your newsletter, or your offer. So I take a 20-minute YouTube video. We cut up the best parts of it into quote cards, into little clips, into reels, into any video we want to put across social media. We link it back to either my blog, my newsletter, or an offer, or an opt-in page. That's it. That content rhythm is marketing today. Content marketing is marketing today. There is no major difference. The difference is that some people do it and some people don't, right? Those who've been in a long time, we just had the compound effect of a lot of content out there over a series of years that kept building up the brand. The other thing you have to realize in marketing mindset is the good news is you don't have to figure out how to sell. It's already been figured out. You just have to make sure that your web pages and your Zooms and your presentations from stage or your web or your email copy follows copywriting 101. Everyone says, I don't sell. I don't know how to sell. It's like, salesman, who do you think you are? You're going to figure out sales? Sales was figured out 3 decades ago. Like the psychology is there. You don't have to make it up. You have to follow the outline and remind yourself, just do this. right? When you're selling on a webinar, or you're selling on a Zoom, or you're selling your course, or you're selling anything, the sales psychology is 100% of the same, 100% of the time, 100% of the medium. It does not change. Human behavior, right? We still have psychology 1.0 going on up here. You have to speak to people's possibilities and their problems. Like, what is it they want? What are they struggling with? Why are you the person to help them through this? What is your solution? Why is it a deal? And why should I buy it now? That's always the same, right? That structure might elongate in a longer conversation, right? A 2-hour sales call versus maybe a 20-minute sales video or a 5-minute sales video, but it's always there. What's the possibility for the prospect? What's the problems you're helping them solve? Why are you the person? What is the solution you got? Why is it great? What are the benefits, the features of it? And what's the deal? Why is it a great offer and price? Or why do those bonuses become so compelling? Or why do I need to buy it now because it's expiring or there's only a limited number of seats? These things don't change. You're always doing them. So one reason that I'm passionate about Kajabi, and many of you know, when you're a Kajabi Pro member, every single month, I'm live with you. On the first day of every single month, we come in, we talk about what's going on in marketing, what's working right now. I teach one new thing, whether it's email list building or how to convert on a page or how to make your first sale. I'm there every single month for Kajabi Pro members. And I think that's important because a lot of it is just emphasizing and reminding people of the foundational things of marketing and sales. Just like that. Sales psychology is always the same. Once you know it, listen, I know many of you had your first sale or you're about to. When you have that first sale, you don't forget that, and I was sharing with a friend just the other day about how when you get that first sale, it's not just a joy that you got the money in the bank. It's a joy that and it's not just the joy of you get to serve somebody. It is the knowledge and the know-how and the confidence that you know how to do it again. I remember back in the early days, one of the biggest and largest launches on Kajabi back in the day was a huge, huge launch. And I was talking to the guy who did it. And he was telling me the story how he was driving home. And it was a big deal for him. The money was going to change his life and his family's generational life. And he was going home and he called his mom in the car. And she couldn't understand. How sometimes your parents don't understand what you're doing, and it's a big deal to you, but they're like, that's nice, honey. And you're like, no, but this is a big deal. Like, that's wonderful, honey. Did you eat? And so he's telling his mom about this, and she's like, kind of not really quite getting it, but he's like so happy, and he starts crying because he's so happy that things have changed for him. And she says, well, what's the big deal, honey? And he just cried. He goes, I'm crying because I realize I know how to do this again. You sell your first course, you know how to do it again. You get your first coaching client, you know how to do it again. Because that psychology of enrolling them is the same every time. And the best news is, once you get sale, you're just going to get better at that over and over and over and over and over again. I mean, I've sold 28 online courses. The sales script for all 28 online courses was basically exactly the same. The courses were different. Benefits might be different, but the sales psychology was the same. And that is the mindset of the marketer. It's knowing sales psychology is always the same. Let's make sure we hit all of these levers. Let's make sure we push all these buttons. Let's make sure we said all these things. And all of a sudden, it's not a mystery anymore. Your page isn't converting? Great. Look at the top reasons people buy something. Oh, right. Did we talk about the possibility? Did we explain why we're the one? Did we show the solution and how other people use it, the benefits, the features? Did we make sure we talked about the deal? Did we do price juxtaposition? Did we include the idea of how this can save them time, energy, effort? Did we overcome some obstacles? Did we put a nice bonus package together? Do we have a guarantee? All of that stuff you will learn once you start. All of that stuff is in that, literally like the help articles of Kajabi. Like literally the courses that you get with me when you sign up for Kajabi Pro are in there. This is not a big mystery. And I just want to let you know that Because when you know, oh, there's a map, there's a way to do this, now you get out of your own way. You stop comparing yourself to her or to him. You know there's a plan. And now it's like, I can do this, including those of you who are trying to go to the next level, including those of you who are signing up for Kajabi the very first time. When you know there's a plan, and it's not about your personality, it's about the customer or the prospect's ambition and the actions they need to do to improve whatever they're doing or trying to do to improve. Now you're like, I can be in this game. It's not about my confidence in myself because my childhood. It's about, that's a plan. That's something I can do. That's a tool I can learn and implement because I can follow instructions. Like, it's that straightforward. And I say that to you not to be flippant, because I wish I knew that. I was that kid who was like, well, who am I? I was that kid who was like, I don't know how to use technology. I was like, all the excuses that you run in your head not to jump into this has to be overcome. And that's where this confidence comes in, where you have to connect with the fact that you have to do something beyond yourself. Everyone says, I only want to do things in my comfort zone, or people only do things in their comfort zone. No, that's not true. People do things in either their esteem zone, how do I feel about myself, or those who really move the needle, earn more for their family, change the world. They do something in what's called the service zone. Service zone is, I'm willing to serve other people, and I understand that's going to require me to pull myself out of my comfort zone. That's going to require me to pull myself out of just how I feel about myself, because people need me on my A game. If I'm going to provide service, that's going to require, I just learn to communicate better. It's going to require, I'm going to figure out the tools. It's going to require, I'm going to learn how to build. And sometimes the service isn't just the customers. That wasn't the case for me. My service zone wasn't to my prospects, my customers, my audience at the time. The truth is, my service was to a woman I loved. When I was starting out, I was broke. And I mean broke. And some of you heard the story before, but I always tell it because it's just real. And it's what's going to change your life more than anything, going in the service zone. And I was writing and working on this little desk in my girlfriend's apartment. I had moved in my girlfriend's apartment because I was about to enter bankruptcy. I couldn't afford my apartment anymore. So I moved in with her because my friends had kicked me out of living on their couches. Moved in with her. And the apartment was small enough where there wasn't really any place to put my desk. So I just had this fold out little table from my mom. It was her sewing room table. And on the bed next to me, I had all of my bills and all of my paperwork, all of my notes and my vision boards and my journal and my research and everything. I had all these books and all these things that were helping inspire me to write a book on personal development at the time. And it was my first book outside of the Student Leadership Guide. This was going to be my first book for like adults, for consumers. And I was failing at it. I just wasn't disciplined. I wasn't as focused as I needed to be. And one night, I'm kind of faking it, typing, just kind of like thinking and just not really in it. And the girlfriend walked in. It was late at night. She's going to go to bed, goes to go under the covers to sleep. And I look over and I see my love sleeping under the weight of my bills. And I mean that literally, she's under my bills trying to go to sleep. And it was just like, I still don't know how to explain it, but every time I tell the story, I still feel it. It was like inside. Because I always say, none of us want to see our lack of effectiveness or productivity or focus or engagement or trying be the thing that causes our family to struggle. So for me, the service zone was, I don't want us to live like that. I'd already come up poor. I want us to have a different life. I don't want her sleeping under my bills. I got to change. I got it serious. So I started writing that night. I was just like inspired and upset and frustrated all at the same time. But it was exactly that drive that I needed. Everyone accesses drive at different times. Like now my drive is way more about you guys, right? I don't need to get up and do this anymore. This is not something I have to do. I love this part of service. Now it's authentic and I get all that feedback from people's lives who change in 190 countries around the world who've taken our 20 plus online courses. Like I've had so many blessings in this industry to reach people and to hear from them, from speaking on every major arena stage, literally in North America, to having the opportunity, 100 million downloads of my podcast, The Brendon Show, to, hundreds of millions of video views. From that moment where I decided to get out of my own stuff and produce for somebody else. Somebody needs you on your A game. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's your kids. Maybe it's somebody you care about. But it's about getting serious about serving other people and then realizing, guess what? You don't have to compare yourself to anybody. Do your own thing, but create a content rhythm behind it. Realize when it's time to sell, you sell to your page, or you sell to camera, or you sell on your webinar. There's already copywriting 101, what to say. The sales psychology is already the same. You just got to get out of your own way and find a reason, something that makes you realize it's time to earn more. It's time to serve more. It's time to care for your family more. It's time to really do something with your life that's your own thing, your own thing. That's what you get to do in this world. We get to share our voice. We get to monetize what we know and what our content is. We get to help people. That's what we wake up every day. I'm still doing the same thing 20 years later. Share my voice here with you, hoping to help you in some way and really finding joy and fulfillment in that process because I get to hear your stories. I can't tell you, every time I'm out on the road, I just spoke to 18,000 people in a stadium. And of course, I'm backstage. What happens? 2 or 3 of them come up. I've been at your event, or I went through your course, or you know what? Thank you. You taught me Kajabi. Something comes up where I'm like, oh, yeah, right. Okay, cool. Because you know how it feels right now. You can be home in your own space or on your computer. It can feel lonely. It's not lonely. You see hundreds of thousands of people literally every day. You're probably scrolling through or seeing reactions from or comments. The world operates this way now. You got to be in it. The difference is, are you going to be a pro at this? Are you going to earn a lot? Do you have the ambition to change your family's story? Because when you have that hunger and that drive to connect to serving your family, serving the future, serving other people beyond what's comfortable for you, you'll change the world. I look forward to seeing and hearing your Kajabi story. I know we've got some Q&A here from Allie I'd love to get to, but I appreciate each and every one of you. I want to celebrate you and encourage you to use Kajabi the way that I've used it, to have all the benefits of the features and the tools, but also to have the benefit of going to bed each night knowing you help some people.
I love that. Thank you so much, Brendon. I'm like sitting over here, like thinking to myself, like, I got to launch a course. I got to serve other people just by the words that you are sharing. So I know that it's impacting the people. And I know you can't see the chat, but I have it down here and it's going crazy. There's people who have crying emojis and people who said, somebody needs your A game. Who is that somebody for you? So people are identifying with what you're saying and they're really feeling empowered by it. So thank you. I do have a couple of questions for you.
Yeah, let's do it.
One of the questions that popped up was, what's a book that has changed your life?
Oh my gosh. You know what? I always come back to 2. One was Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, about understanding that the last of the human freedoms is the ability to choose one's own attitude, to choose one's own way. Even the most disparate and awful circumstances, that we can find our own mind amid the difficulties of life and choose not only our attitude, but the meaning of things, the good things and the bad things. And that was pivotal for my mindset. And also realizing how lucky I was. And here I was sometimes complaining about the poverty we grew up in. It's like, come on. Sometimes you just need perspective of realizing what the world and other people have gone through to realize your own blessings or privilege to say, you know what? I want to do well. I want to make a difference in this world. I need to rise out of my own concerns and recognize there's another level here. And that was a book for me. And another one was Paulo Coelho. He wrote a book called The Alchemist. And some of you know my Kajabi story with Paulo Coelho, which was, The Alchemist is, I think now, the 6th best-selling book in the history of the world. Right? Think about that. The 6th best-selling book in the history of the world. It was a book that changed my life. It's about somebody chasing their dream. I won't tell any more. It's really one of the most beautiful stories of all time written. And anyway, one day I got a call from Paulo. He had seen me launch my book, and he was having trouble penetrating the US market. Even though he's like literally one of the biggest authors in the world, his US sales weren't what they needed to be. And I had just charted on New York Times for many weeks, all built on Kajabi, my famous free book shipping model that I kind of created. Well, I did. I get the benefit of I literally created that model. And though people give me the credit for inventing it, I actually learned it from the DVD guys. People were giving away free DVDs. I was like, oh, I want to give a free book.
Yeah. For those who don't know, can you just say a little bit about what that book funnel is, just high level, so that they can kind of know what that is? People could give me their name and email to get into my free book funnel, where they claimed a free book, which means I bought the book for them. I had the hardcover copies in a warehouse. They just had to pay their shipping and handling. But they paid their shipping and handling, and then you use Kajabi for the upsells. So they paid their shipping and handling. You're losing money right off the bat, right? Because you had to buy the book and you have to ship it, and they're only paying for shipping, which means you have the cost of the book. But then you have these upsells, one-click upsells, thank you page upsells. You have an email sequence that delivers value, but then sells more stuff. And the idea is you want to sell more stuff to the people who got the free book, and your goal is to break even in 30, 60, or 90 days. And we just ran ads or had affiliates or built our own organic reach to get people in that free book funnel. And it was enormous. No one had ever seen it before. We were the first one to ever do it. It was enormous. And so I'm on the call. Paulo Coelho was like, Brendon, hello, Brendon. And it tells me he's having struggle promoting in the US. So we do a live broadcast, which was really original. Most people just learned this, only the last 2-3 years. I've been doing this for 13 years. I've been live every single week. So it just so we did it on a page, a Kajabi page, where we just embedded a live broadcast link. I interviewed him. We drove people to the page. They opted in for it with Kajabi. So we built a page for Kajabi, learned from Brendon and Paulo, entered their name and email, got the live cast. He and I did the live cast. We drew all the email registrations to it. They learned about the book. They bought his book, and we charted him on the bestseller list here in the US. So it was, and I only share that all because I share that only because when you learn marketing, your heroes reach out to you. You get to help your heroes. I got to help so many people in the industry who I learned from promote their books or their courses or their business or their unicorn company, because I learned how to do all this. And it's once you learn it, you can do it again. The key formula that you just said, that I've heard you say so many times on stages and in private Zoom conversations and so many things, is you have an opt-in where you're capturing information about your customer. You have value, whatever that value might be, a free book, a free download, a free video, a free mini course, whatever it might be, you're showing up. And then you have an offer, and you actually ask those people who are engaging with your stuff to purchase and go deeper into a relationship with you. And that formula is so simple when you think about it at such a high level. And I think people start to get overwhelmed and complicate it and think they need to do all these fancy things. But if you have an opt-in, you add value, and then you have an offer, that's the formula that I feel has built your business.
That's it. We coined it as the OVO, opt-in value offer. Everything in the entire, when people are explain the knowledge economy to me, I say there are people who want to share their voice and help people with their expertise or their passion. They want to monetize some kind of content. And the whole business model is OVO. There is no other part of this business model that exists without the OVO. If you don't get the opt-ins and build the list, I mean, you might have social media, but guess what? They change the algo and you're out, right? If you don't add the value, you have no brand.
Yeah.
You have no connection with the audience. They won't buy from you. And then if your offer isn't good, but here's the most important thing, and I think this is where Kajabi comes in. So everyone's like, if I had an unfair advantage, it was the funnels and email sequences built within Kajabi, because it's not about making an offer once. As you know, Ali, people get down on themselves. Well, I put up an offer, no one bought it. I'm like, well, how many times did you drive them to it? How many emails did you send about it? Did you put a 72-hour deadline on it? A 48-hour deadline? A 24-hour deadline? A last call? Like, so people make one touch point for an offer and they get discouraged. And the truth is, with Kajabi, you have a system that allows you to make multiple touch points, because people need to see that offer a lot of times and they need to have a deadline. And without that, even from me, they won't buy. Even the biggest names in the industry, they will not buy without that multiple touch points on the offer, then the deadline. And so OBO, that's critical. And having the system to do that is very important.
Yeah. And I think the important thing too, is that you're not making an offer. Cause I know I hear this all the time from entrepreneurs of like, oh, well, it just feels weird to like sell and constantly be asking people for money. Well, first of all, we're here to build a business. Like, and if you're truly offering value, then asking for that offer should not feel like anything other than you naturally extending the next part of the relationship with your customer. And so the offer is so contingent on the value that you're bringing at that value part of the funnel. So opt-in, value, offer. I love the formula. I think it's so simple. And I think if everyone could walk away with just that, is, am I capturing emails and opting in people? Am I adding value with free content, free, book, free, whatever it is? And am I making my offer? And am I doing that multiple times?
Yeah. And the only people who are scared of sales are they either don't know that plan or they haven't had the blessing of helping anybody yet and getting the feedback from it. Yeah. Because once you have someone say, thank you so much, you changed my life with this. Yeah. You will sell that product so strong and so confidently forever. But until you get that first sale, until you get in the game and get some feedback from your customers, of course, you're going to be a little insecure. Of course, you're going to not know. And of course, your first course or your first offering or your first coaching sessions, they won't be as good as your 10th. Yeah. So you just understand this is a process of mastery and feedback. But once you have that touch point, that human interaction of someone saying, you helped me, thank you, you'll get out of your own way.
Oh, totally. Totally. Put it in the chat in here if you want to serve some people and you want to make some money in your business, because I think that's what this formula will help you unlock. So drop it in the chat if that's your goal. So Brendon, I know we've taken way too much of your time already, but I have just two more quick things, one question and then a note for everyone here. Somebody asked in the chat, with so many other platforms now, why Kajabi over others? I would love to hear your answer to this.
Yeah. Well, first, it's the only all-in-one platform. Others claim it. Totally not true. Trust me, I've used them all. Like, you need a platform that's not only trusted, but doesn't break, isn't personality driven, but it's an actual company. I mean, Kajabi is a multi-billion-dollar company now, meaning it doesn't break, meaning it's good, meaning you get support from real humans who will talk to you when you're like, I don't know how to do this. You can actually talk to a human, right? Online marketers who make products or software, you can talk to nobody. And they're doing it for the first time. When you're sending an email sequence, you don't want it to break. When they're at your payment checkout flow, you don't want it to break. So if money matters and you don't want it to break, Kajabi. But also, I think what Kajabi's done a really great job with is just understanding us. Like creators, influencers, thought leaders, the knowledge economy, we're different. We're insanely different than a tool like a Shopify, right? We are so different in this industry of what we do and how we serve people, right? The way that we structure our landing pages, the way we capture email, the way we make offers and deadlines, the way we deliver digital products like courses, the way we do live coaching or one-on-one like life coaching, the way we build podcasts, all of that's in Kajabi. And when you realize that, plus it builds your web pages, you're like, wait, I don't need 7 systems to build web pages and to take sales and to send emails. You realize it's cheaper. Like I always tell people, should I use Kajabi? I'm like, I want you to go sign up for every other system to do what Kajabi does. I want you to look at your bill and then go look at Kajabi. And they always cancel everything else and come to Kajabi because at the end of the day, because you're such a big company, you offer something insanely cheap that other companies or systems or tools, you have to pay 5, 6, 7, 8 recurring billing things to get. You do it in one. I think that's super important.
Let alone getting all those softwares to talk to one another. That's my other thing, is it's not just the cost, but it's the time cost of having to hook up your mail provider with your website, with your offer system and all the things. That sounds like not a lot of fun when you should be really thinking about your content and, to your point for this whole conversation, how you're serving people. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
And I know that you truly mean it, because you're the OG here, and you were here when we had just course creation tools, and now 10 plus years later we've added so many things. So I appreciate you saying that.
When Allie started, they didn't have that hallway behind her that you see right now. That's not a background. That's actually a real hallway at the corporate offices. It is a real hallway.
I don't know how to show that.
Yeah, that's like a real background. A minute ago, Kenny, who was the founder and CEO for all those years, and one of my great friends, walked down the hallway. I was like, oh, that's a real background. And
it doesn't look like we're a big company, because I'm sitting over here outside by myself, but there is just 1,000,001 signs around for people not to walk down this hallway because we're filming. So we are here. We have a big team running. But Brendon, one other thing I wanted to mention, because people were bringing it up in the chat, is for those of you who don't know, if you're a Kajabi customer, or if you're thinking about joining Kajabi, on our growth plan, which is our middle tier plan, and above, you actually get access to Brendon's monthly live trainings just by being a Kajabi member. He is so generous and offered this to our Kajabi customers. And so if you are a Kajabi member, again, on our growth plan and above, you have access to that. If you haven't seen the emails regarding that, just please reach out to support@kajabi.com, and we'll make sure that you're on that list. But Brendon goes live once a month and does this, brings massive value, talks about marketing, talks about really tactical things, really strategic things, philosophical things, all of the things. And you get that once a month for the year of 2022. So thank you, Brendon, for offering that to our growth members and above. And if you didn't know that, it's just another perk of being a Kajabi customer.
Yeah, I love it. We get together every single month. We set your monthly marketing goals. If you don't know how to do that, we teach you. We teach you what messaging is working right now. And I always just reveal a simple campaign or something very straightforward that you can do in Kajabi to help you move forward. Because, I'm totally invested in the company, like literally and figuratively. Like I use it for so long. Kenny was so kind to finally say, hey, do you want to invest in the company? And was able to. And it's been an incredible journey, because I get to see all of my friends on Kajabi in the whole industry. Everybody ultimately gets on Kajabi or tries after they've usually spent a bunch of stupid money elsewhere. So I highly encourage you, check this out, get in, try it, believe in yourself. Kajabi team will take care of you. I'll be there with you. Many of you on the first of each month. And at the end of the day, you can figure this out. Just believe in that. Get in there, try it. You'll love it.
Thank you so much, Brendon.
Yeah.
We so appreciate your time. I know it is super valuable, and you always just bring the house down with your encouragement. I love your story. It's just such a testament to building and serving and, actually like walking in your purpose and your calling. So thank you for sharing these things. Yeah. And I know our audience here and everyone who's attending has just found so much value out of it. So we really appreciate your time.
I'm so glad. Thank you, Allie, for your leadership at Kajabi. Appreciate you. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you out there in Kajabi land. I appreciate you. Go build your business. You guys can do this.